Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning or this afternoon, whatever time zone you are in. We are really excited to have you all join us today. We have got a rock star panel of folks that will be joining us, sharing about our exclusive member-only benefits. As a note, we will be sending out the slide deck at the end because this is the slides that our presenters have prepared are full of great content and their contact information and information about their company websites. So all of that will be available to you. We are going to go through in alphabetical order today in order of company and organization name, starting off with Jonathan at Aiqueous. Next slide, Rachel. So here is a list of who will be joining us today and their bright, shining, smiley faces. And each presenter will go for about 5 to 7 minutes. And then at the end, we will have some good time to dig into Q&A. If you have questions as our presenters are speaking, feel free to add any questions, comments in the chat, and they can respond to you directly. And with that, I will pass this off to Jonathan at Aiqueous.
All right, thank you, and good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks very much for joining. So today we're going to be talking about a member benefit provided, which is the WaterWays platform. This is a conservation program management solution, and it is available to AWE members at a low monthly rate with the possibility of adding additional licenses. And we'll talk about that as we go through. Next slide, please. Whoop. Okay. So what we find in the industry today is that the biggest problem, or one of the biggest problems that people are running into, are what we're calling loose connections. And so this just means that your people and you are not tightly coupled, and it's creating problems in terms of being able to effectively manage your programs. And so when we talk to our clients, can you go back? Thank you. When we talk to our clients, they're having trouble getting people to sign up for the programs. There are manual processes if anyone's using Excel to manage their programs or form fillable PDFs. There's a lot of information and it's going slow. People are printing and filling it out. As a result, you may not have good visibility into your pipeline. You may not understand how many rebates you've been paying out or how many might be in process. It can be very difficult to get answers back to the people who want to know, whether it's your board or others. And then the reporting needs can be very cumbersome, especially if you're saving various versions of Excel and then trying to send it all out. Next slide. And so for you, this ends up meaning a lot of manual work in your programs, a lot of guesswork around your program status and performance, and there's also a lot of explaining to do. Depending upon who's asking you questions, maybe the customers are asking what the status of their rebate is, and so that's what we are here to help you with. Next slide. And so what if you are getting all of the information that you need from your customers for your programs right at the beginning? What if the application reviews and your communications are automated so that they can go much faster? And what if you were able to see all of that program data and reports in one place? Next slide. So we've helped various water utilities across the country solve these problems and become more effective at running their conservation programs. For Scottsdale Water, they used to have a lot of back and forth with their customers. There was difficulty in getting information. They had to search across multiple workbooks to see what was going on in prior results. Can we go back to the next slide, please? The prior slide, please.
I'm so sorry. It's automated, so I'm trying to keep up with you. I'm so.
Okay, so we're just here. Thank you. So. Customer would be submitting an application. They would be missing information in the form fillable PDF. They would have to go back and get all the information again. The customer may be calling in, emailing in, asking for status. So when they use the WaterWays platform, and they did this back in 2016, customers have been happier and so have the staff because there's been a better experience with better communication, letting people know exactly what's going on. The data was cleaner. There were fewer duplicates. There was a streamlined process. The information is automatically directly tied to the project. And then it does save time and city resources. So you get rid of the manual uploads, and it allowed the staff to focus on the thing that mattered most, being out in the community, talking to people about the programs and helping them participate. Next slide. So we talk about the current AWE WaterWays platform. So there are a few members who are using it right now, Tempe, Bernalillo County, as well as Spokane, Washington. They were both looking to save time, make things more streamlined. The interface was causing a lot of errors. And so by moving into this platform, they got seamless project management, reducing processing time, and then getting rid of paper so that everything was handled electronically, and it gave customers the digital experience that they are expecting these days. Next slide. So our offer to AW members is $500 a month. With that, you get an online application form, an automated review process, automated outbound communications via email to your customers. You get programs and dashboards and reports to be able to see what's going on with your programs and the ability to globally search for your customer across all of your records to see what else they've done and whether they've done that thing before. And then you can purchase an additional license at $50 per month. This includes a limited amount of time, hours, for us to be able to set you up and then support you over the course of the year. If you need more help, that is something that you pay for additionally. But we have found that we've been able to keep our clients going within the pricing for this particular offer. Next slide. So the goal that we have for you is to turn every customer relationship into a true partnership to achieve your water resource and conservation goals. So as a broad company, we are here to help you spark your customers' interest, make sure that they are seeing what you're sending out and taking the action that you want them to take. We are streamlining the process. So we're making it easier for you and your customers to make sure that all the right information is getting in, and we're allowing you to see the progress so that you're able to understand what your performance is and to be able to provide those reports as needed. And I think the next slide is the last one. So Aiqueous is becoming part of a larger organization, and we will have more information to share at around CS Week in May. This will include a new company name, new brand, new suite of products, and it will allow us to engage with you more broadly and more deeply to help you turn those customer relationships into true partnerships. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Next up, we have Jazmine with Eagle Aerial.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Excited to be here. Really quickly, before we jump into my slide deck, maybe 30 seconds of background here, because yes, I am from Eagle Aerial, the Director of Product Development over there, but I'm going to be speaking specifically about WaterView, and really excited to have this as a member benefit for AWE members. Eagle Aerial started in 1987, started off as an aerial imagery company, literally the owner of the company hanging with a harness outside of a helicopter with a camera. Back in those days, stuck with it, for multiple decades. And then just about 13, 14 years ago, started moving into remote sensing and landscape analysis. We had already moved way into into digital imagery collection, and we're starting to get deep into the science to landscape analysis. And that is what brought us to the water industry and understanding irrigation needs. That's where we started, now getting close to a decade. And that's the start of WaterView, I guess. Next slide. Starting to work with new water efficiency and water conservation legislation requirements was really the place where WaterView was born. And it is a data management and simplified GIS environment that, per needs that we saw as requirements across different states, were being established and rolled out within this movement towards more water use efficiency, even moving from the word just conservation and into efficiency is where we started to create this platform. Next slide, please. Quick look at your main dashboard. WaterView has been constructed to really tailor to different metering scenarios within within an urban water supplier's service area, starting off with you know, a 1-to-1 1 meter to a parcel, typically on residential parcels, all the way to a 1-to-many or many-to-1 when you get into dedicated irrigation meters in commercial, industrial, institutional plus customers parcels and the like. The main idea of the various dashboards that WaterView provides is to give the user a look at the aggregate on the top. How is my service area in general doing within my objective, be it a legislative requirement, a mandate, or even just an internal goal that the water supplier is working on, and then breaking that down to a granular level all the way down to a customer level. Next slide. Starting with, you know, kind of focus on residential customers, residential parcels, a 1-to-1 metering system where we can start looking at how to define not just high water use, but how to identify attributes that define efficient or inefficient water use. Again, aggregate across the board, all of your residential customers, and then breaking that down to a parcel level. Here on this dashboard looks really similar to, you know, the first screen, but you can see the colored parcels on the right hand side, where at the top, again, that's across your service area, but taking those definitions, sometimes they're formulas pulled directly from legislative requirements or a mandate, or again, it's could be budgets created specifically by the water supplier, and applying those with other data points to create an efficient or inefficient tiering system within your residential customers. Next slide. The technical side of this, how we even start doing this, is going through a very in-depth geocoding process. So speaking again specifically on residential parcels, the heaviest lift for our team in the beginning is working with a water supplier to geocode those meters to the correct parcel, because it's a data management platform. This is a key component that allows us, once we have that point set on a map within that parcel, we can then tether data around that meter to that parcel on there, and allows for more in-depth querying. Next slide, please. So this is, again, like kind of that simplified GIS. We're taking data management with GIS together, putting it there so that you can drill down. You can look, again, aggregate across my whole service area and start to kind of data mine in and look all the way down at a parcel level to when you select that parcel, all the data that's been tethered to that geocoded place is then visible, and subsequently you're able to query with that. Next slide. So going through the different attributes that are housed within WaterView, you can ask the system to show you, for example, you know, show me all my single family residential homes that have over 1,500 square feet of irrigated landscape, of a certain amount of turf, or maybe they have a year that the housing has been constructed, looking on some indoor. You can look in using census data, which is connected to the platform as well. Look at median household size for some indoor components as well. Next slide. Gonna have to wrap up really quick. So then again, starting to bring those all the way down to a parcel level, and then grouping those behaviors together for ongoing outreach. Next slide. I'm going to power through my next couple, go as quickly as I can. Commercial, industrial, institutional. The big difference here is it's not always a 1-to-1. It's not going to be 1 meter to 1 parcel. It's going to be many times 1 parcel or 1 meter to many parcels that it's servicing, or the other way around. There is a grouping of parcels with multiple meters and the same account owner. Next slide, please. This really, you know, created we had to create some much more complex calculators and bring in more landscape analysis. And then subsequently, the technology had to be able to interpret that technology so that you could start seeing very granular landscape data. Next slide. land use classifications, and not just down to a parcel level, but by groupings of meters that are servicing like areas. That could be multiple meters servicing a park or a meter servicing a commercial parcel as well. Look at that water use behavior over time. Again, data as housed allows you to query and define efficiency. Start looking at things. Next slide, please. Like, what type of landscape do I have? Here's that querying, another slide that shows that querying of all the different data sets. Next slide, digging down to even looking at things like non-functional turf, NFT, designation via remote sensing and landscape analysis. But then you have QCing, when you can actually jump in and look at a street view to say, let's make sure that's right, tag it and move forward. Next slide. Reporting on here. It's comparing what groups of customers that you have together, different attributes, how they're doing over time. If you're rolling out a program like a non-functional turf program, turf removal, seeing if there's actual water savings over time. If the programs you're rolling out, what type of effect are they having on water use efficiency, not always just consumption. And that is my last slide. I think I did it. I can't believe it, Kelly. Next slide. More info. Feel free to reach out at any time. Thank you so much, AWE, for inviting me.
Excellent job, Jazmine. We're not only water efficient, we are also time efficient. And with that, I will pass the baton to Joe from Flume. Thanks, Jazmine.
Thank you for having me today. I'm very excited to present to you about our Flume AWE program. And Rachel, if you can please advance to the next slide. At Flume, we're all about liberating the water data that most people don't only see on a monthly water bill. And what we're about is basically making that data available to both homeowners and utilities so that they can actually understand how much water they're using at any time. So if you advance to the next slide, please, I'll explain to you how we do that. So what we've done is we've created this smart sensor. It's essentially a Fitbit for your water meter. It literally straps right around your water meter, and it allows a homeowner, once it's been installed, to basically see exactly how much water they're using right on their smartphone. So let me show you how that works. If you please go to the next slide. So the first thing is that the device has to be strapped around a water meter, like I just mentioned. And if you'll click to the next build there, please. What it does then is it collects that data off the meter every 5 seconds, and then it beams it up to the cloud. And then if you skip to the next build there, please. And then what we do is we run that data through our proprietary machine learning algorithms that basically break that water use into its component parts. So based on kind of the signatures of how people are using water, we know what's a toilet, we know it's a shower, we know what's irrigation. And then if you click ahead again, please, we then make that data available, like I said before, to the homeowner on their smartphone. And if you click one more time, we also make that data available to the utility through a portal. And if you go to the next slide, please. The homeowner's experience allows them to, again, right on their phones, right in real time, be able to monitor for leaks. We'll send them push notifications if there's things like leaks. We allow them to monitor their real-time usage down to the minute. So as they're watering their lawn, they can actually be looking at their phone and seeing exactly how much water is being used every minute. And as I also said before, we break all of that usage down into component parts. So you can see exactly, how much water did I use in my toilets this week versus last week, and how much water do we use in the showers this week versus last week. And we also allow our customers to be able to set budgets. So if they want to set a daily, a weekly, or even a monthly budget, we'll alert them when they're getting close to going over their budgets so that they can actually manage how much water they use. And if we go to the next slide, we work very closely with water utilities to actually get these devices in the hands of their customers. We like to say we have the easiest rebate program that you'll ever run. We pretty much do everything for you, and we'll walk you through really quickly how that works. So if you go to the next page, basically what we do is we set up a landing page that looks just like this. This happens to be one for Contra Costa Water District. And essentially, we'll work with you to determine how much you want to subsidize for each device that goes through the program. We'll set up this landing page to reflect that pricing. In this case, the customer basically, their net cost is $94 after Contra Costa actually subsidizes the device. And essentially all you need to do is send people to this page. So basically you can send emails, do social posts, put it in the newsletter, say, hey, we're offering this very cool device to our customers. We're subsidizing it, click here to get one. You send them to this page. The customer will come through here. They will purchase their device. We will ship it to them. We will help them get it installed. And at the end of the month, we just bill you for the number of devices you've sold times the subsidies that you're providing. And actually, I misspoke there. We actually bill AWE because all of the money will be on deposit with AWE. So you don't even need to get involved in the billing. We handle that directly with AWE. So you just need to put money aside with AWE to pay for these subsidies. And we take care of all the accounting from there as well. So it's even easier. So if you go to the next page, once we get all of these devices installed, or once your customers get these devices installed, we make available a portal to you that looks like this, where you can actually monitor the use of all of these devices out in your district. You can see exactly how much water people are using. Again, in real time, just like they are, you'll see exactly what they're seeing. And also you can see all the devices and the health of the devices, how many are installed, all of that here in our portal. And if we go to the next slide. And then when you do get about 100 or 200 devices, we can also start to give you some very deep analysis into how people are using water in your district, how much water people are using indoors versus outdoors, and how efficient are the toilets in your district, and how efficient are the showers in your district. And we can provide all that data to you based on all the data we're getting from the flumes that are in your actual district. And then one last slide. Actually, maybe it's not the last slide. We're doing this with a lot of water utilities, some of the biggest and smallest water utilities out there. We'd love to work with you if you're interested. Some of our biggest customers are Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, and EV Mud, and Golden State Water. But also we're working with a lot smaller districts as well, like Santa Barbara and Marin, and some of the less large utilities out there. And I think this is the last slide. Next, it is. We have a special offer for AWE customers. We've discounted the devices pretty heavily. You can get started for as little as $15,000. Basically, we'll set up that landing page for you, and I'll give you all the marketing materials that are required to market this to your customers. This includes about 100 Flume rebates. Again, that amount that you rebate is, we can talk about that and customize that for you. Typically, it's about $130 per device. We'll give you access to that portal that I showed you. And after all of this, your residents will pay about $75 after installation. Again, all of this is customizable, and if you're interested, we'd be happy to talk to you and give you a quote that matches exactly what you're looking for. Any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. AWE knows how to reach us if you don't have our contact info. And thank you for your time.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Joe. Next up, we will hear from Natalie at Rachio.
Hi there. Well, Joe, you made my job very easy, because luckily our program is fairly similar in functionally how it operates. So I like to say that it's not even really quite like a rebate program. Joe, as you said, it's very easy. We have a similar redemption process for our utilities that we work with. So Rachel, you can go ahead to the next slide, please. What is Rachio? I think most people here are already familiar with us, but if you are not, we are the inventor of the smart sprinkler category to ensure that residents are using only the water they need and nothing more. We create tailored smart schedules. We will skip the schedule before it rains. We will also skip if it's too windy, if temperatures are too low, or if the soil is already saturated. So we've got lots of fancy algorithms that work for us to ensure that your residents aren't overwatering. Our controllers can help make your residents up to 20 to 50% more efficient with their watering. And to date, we have saved over 175 billion gallons of water, which is something that we are very proud of. Next slide, please. All right, so how does the program work? Our program reduces the administrative burden, similar to what Joe presented regarding Flume. It's pretty easy. You select your eligible residents. You select your cost share contribution, so you can contribute anywhere from $0 up to the full cost of the controller. Controllers range from $149 to $259, so it's up to you how much of that you want to cover. The only upfront cost that you will have is a one-time $500 administrative fee, and that's it. And then the last step, market the program. You know, you can have the greatest program, but if your residents don't know about it, we can't get you going on water efficiency. So pretty easy 3 steps here. Next slide, please. So a quick overview, step 1 for your residents, they'll confirm their eligibility. So we have a customized landing page below this screenshot. What you can't see is we have our FAQs and a few more bits and pieces of information, including a dedicated support email and phone number. So your residents can always reach out to us if they have questions. So you won't be getting any additional customer support requests. Once the resident confirms their eligibility with their account number, they then move into the shopping portion of the flow. Next slide, please. And here's where they get to select their controller. They get to select one controller and up to one weatherproof enclosure if their controller is located outside. We take care of shipping, we take care of the cost share and getting it out to the consumer. Next slide, please. Just as Joe at Flume mentioned, we also provide you with lots of data. Luckily, we're able to record and intake lots of data from your customers, including the number of controllers purchased and activated. We have a few different features that really help residents save water, including seasonal shift and standby mode. So we can tell you how many of your residents actually have those features enabled. Our weather intelligence settings, which those are things like rain skip, wind skip, as well as zone and nozzle data. So if you as a district also have nozzle rebates or turf conversion rebates, we find that this data can give you insight into how many of your residents have actually maybe taken advantage of those, or how many left really could take advantage of those. So all of this data really is there to give you a view into your residents' behavior. We give you access to our dashboard. I don't have a screenshot because it is currently being leveled up to version 2, but beyond the data, we do offer some additional marketing features, including email campaigns that are complete optional a la carte add-ons to help encourage residents to adjust their behaviors and controller settings. Just as an example, I ran a campaign with a district in Texas, and with one email, they were able to, this was during the winter months where irrigation stopped in their district, they were able to increase the number of controllers turned into standby or off mode by 145% with one email. So the data really can give us some great insight, and then the 1-2 punch is how you market and continue to encourage your residents to change their behaviors once you have that data. Next slide, please. And that is it. So wanted to keep it pretty easy for you all. What we need from you, just a participation agreement, account numbers, and marketing the program. The cost share is optional. I can definitely work with you to recommend what will be the most effective and efficient cost share. We do find that adding a cost share does increase participation in the program. At the end of the month, we will send you an invoice for all of your cost shares, and that is all that we need from you is payment once a month. We provide the landing page. We go through the account number eligibility for you, and we confirm all of that. Again, dedicated customer support, controller data. We also provide marketing assets, seasonal promotions. We actually have our first one coming up in a couple of weeks. I know some of you on this call are probably already participating. And then we also include one annual virtual resident training. So a lot of great stuff that we provide, and not a whole lot that we need from you in order to get up and running. I see one question. Are you able to work with wholesale water providers who do not provide retail service? We do not have any current programs, but that's not to say that we couldn't. So Blake, definitely reach out to me. I think Kelly and Rachel are sending contact info out after the webinar, and I'd be happy to chat with you.
Excellent. Thanks, Natalie. Next up, we will hear from Steve at Radian Developers.
Hello, my name's Steve Whitesell. I'm the principal and founder of a company called Radian Developers. We have two member benefits for the Alliance for Water Efficiency. We have the Home WaterWorks calculator, which can be deployed on member utility websites. And we have our open channel system, which is a tool that allows you to identify high water users by market segment and enter them into automated communications and conservation programming. So for the Home WaterWorks calculator, it can be easily deployed on any utility website, like via an iframe, similar to like a YouTube video embed. It's a DIY conservation tool that can be adapted to regional differences. What Tucson Water needs to do for conservation is going to be different from the state of Massachusetts. In addition to those two websites, it's also deployed on East Bay Mud, Aquarian Water, and American Water in California. We've employed the data from the 2009 and 2016 residential end uses of water studies to create the algorithm, and we've compared it recently to the Flume data to validate its accuracy. We have standard and custom implementations available. Again, there are regional differences. Spokane, Washington needs something different than maybe Austin, Texas. We have detailed Google Analytics for detailed reporting, and it's available in both Spanish and English versions. Now we're going to give a live demo, and I'll see you in a minute. Hello, it's me again. This is what the iframe looks like on the Home WaterWorks website. To begin, we want to capture some preliminary information about your household, as in where you live for ET, how many people, when your house was built, and how many people live in your house. We also want to know if you irrigate outdoors, and if you do, how large of an irrigated area is that. Then we go into each individual room. For this, I'm going to be identifying a very high water use, low efficient household. I do not turn off the faucet when I brush my teeth. I have not installed low flow or aerators on my faucets. My toilets were from before 1994, and I do have toilets that leak or get stuck open, and the average person in my house takes 9 showers a week. I do not have water sense labeled shower heads, and the typical person takes 4 baths a week. At the end of each room, we have tips and recommendations sections that's fully modifiable in the standard setup with links and content about your specific conservation programs. For the kitchen, we have, I do have a dishwasher, but it is not efficient. And I run the dishwasher 8 days a week, 8 times a week. For the kitchen, that's the kitchen. Then for the clothes washer, I do have a clothes washer. I run the clothes washer about 8-9 times a week. We have a standard front-loading clothes washer. And then for the outdoor section, we want to talk about attributes of the irrigation system. I do have an in-ground irrigation system. It does have an automatic timer. It does not have a soil moisture sensor or rain sensor, and it is not a smart controller. I'm going to say I irrigate 2 to 3 days a week, and for this, just for sake of high water use, I'm going to say I have 100% turf, but we have different attributes: trees, shrubs, vegetables, natives, non-living ground cover, etc., to total to 100%. Then I want to identify our carbon footprint. I get my water from the local utility. I have electric, and then we have the 6,383 pounds of CO2 per year are produced relative to my water consumption. And then we have the results. The results give the total gallons of water used indoors and out, gallons per person per day, and gallons per year. Then we have the aspects of where water is used. I have a high water use in my toilet because I have leaky toilets that were built before 1994. And then we have an output report section that allows me to compare my house towards an average or WaterWays house. And then it gives me a detailed water efficiency plan that's also customizable by the utility. Okay, we also have our open channel system. That's a tool, a platform that allows you to query your own database and identify high water users, communicate with them either automated or custom communications about their water usage, and enter them into audit or other communication, enter them into audit or other conservation programs. We like to think that if you can target the highest water users by market segment and get them into conservation programs quickly, that increases your conservation program ROI. And with that, we can assign them automatically into different conservation programs, audits, rebates, etc. And ultimately, all the data from these tools go back into your system to help you identify information for policy, staffing, and budgeting. To start, we have a water efficiency targets tools that uses the NAICS or any other business classification system. It allows you to identify thresholds for water use for businesses. So for example, sit-down restaurant to sit-down restaurant, car wash to car wash. This system can easily be adopted to the new California 19 code system. And it's an on-premise solution. And what I mean by that is it actually lives behind the utility firewall. We do that for data security. That data never leaves your servers. It never comes onto our servers. It's a tool that's deployed behind your firewall that only you can see. Then we have an enterprise level communications portal. And so for automated communications, the sit-down restaurant might be in tier 4, the highest tier for water use for 3 months running. That might trigger an automated response that goes out the door, either a letter or an email or a text to the customer that says, hey, you're in tier 4 for 3 months running. We're trying to reduce water consumption by 25% by 2025, and we'd like to get you into a pre-rinse washer rebate and perhaps a toilet audit or a cooling tower audit or whatever that programming is. We tokenize that data, so when it comes into our servers, we strip out any personally identifiable information. We do that for data security, so that, again, we never have any access. We might know consumption data in aggregate, but we can't assume or assign consumption data to any specific entity or service ID. We have proven results because we want to identify the highest water users and target them automatically with conservation programming. Next slide. We have a fleet of irrigation and CII indoor auditing tools that deliver customized reports to each residence or business or property that gives them a detailed analysis or a water balance of where water is being used, and it helps identify costs to replace or fix fixtures, leaks, controllers, valves, etc. Each utility has very different conservation needs based on their region. Therefore, our pricing is customized based on the number of connections and auditing tools required. But please do contact me for a free assessment. Thank you.
Great. All right. Thank you very much.
That was better, huh?
What? You didn't seem as flustered from the video not working.
So after that, I was like, oh, whatever. This is just a...
All right, next up, we have Sean and Darin from Rainbird. And you're currently on mute.
Of course I am. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Kelly and Rachel, for setting this up. Really excited to be here, and thanks for the opportunity. Next slide. My colleague is not here to present with me, but he'll be here later for answering questions. But I am here, and my name is Darin Ayres. I'm the National Sales Manager for Rainbird. We are a global manufacturer of irrigation products, controls, pumping stations, and various other products and services that support the irrigation industry. Next slide, please. So, for the sake of time, let's just jump right into the headline. And what Rainbird is offering AWE member agencies is an opportunity to sell at a significant discount a WaterSense certified irrigation controller to your residents and customers. And second, we can tailor the program to meet the specific needs of each agency that has and demonstrates some interest. Next slide. But before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of the program, let's why don't we introduce you to the RC2 controller. This RC2 is a newer release from Rainbird, and it's generating quite a bit of excitement in the market. And we're really excited and proud to offer this to our AWE memberships. It's really a neat controller. You'll see it has an absence of any dials or very few buttons. So the whole point of this controller is to really make it easy to own. It's easy to set up, simple to install, and at the same time provides a number of different advanced features. We certainly don't need to go through them all now, but I just wanted to highlight the fact that the RC2 controller is really designed really uniquely and innovatively for the end user in mind. And so we thought this would be a perfect opportunity to partner with AWE water agencies to offer your members, your constituents, a water saving device at a really significant discount. Next slide, please. So let's dive into the specifics of the program. So the idea here is that your customers can purchase an RC2 controller directly from us through our online store at a discount by utilizing a promo or a coupon code that you would provide them. Now, we can even take it a step further and actually help develop the collateral for the water agency, depending on how they would like to communicate this coupon code to their customers, whether it be via email, through any sort of online marketing, even onto water bills, or even we can help set up some programs to share this in person during any sort of live outdoor demo or seminar events that an agency might host throughout the year. And so we can tailor the program really to meet the specific needs of the agencies. We can alter the program start and end dates. We can provide limits to the number of uses per code. We can turn on or turn off code sharing. There's a whole host of ways that we can customize this program to meet your specific needs. So next slide, please. So let's look at just some of the details and the pricing. So this controller lists for $238, but the AWE member special allows your customers to purchase this for just a nice clean $100. And oftentimes we've seen a lot of rebate programs where the rebate value equals the cost per the unit. So really the dollars out of pocket for a customer in those situations would be zero. So we see this as a great opportunity to partner with water agencies who are looking for ways to drive the water efficiency message to their constituents and provide a product that can do just that, help them save water. And so shipping is going to be included. And for any agencies who maybe want to take a slightly different approach and perhaps bulk buy controllers to be either given or sold at various agency events, we also offer a pallet quantity discount as well. Next slide. So what do we have to do next? So the next step is for any agency who is interested in learning more, simply go to the link here that you'll be getting this after the webinar, so you can click on that hyperlink at a later date. But that will trigger a response from a member of our online store team, and that's really where the magic happens. They will sit down with you and discuss your needs, determine exactly how you want to promote the program, and then we can help either create the collateral or help you communicate the event or the promotion. And so that's really all it takes. It's a really simplified direct distribution program that allows you to infuse your customers with a piece of technology that will allow them to save water pretty quickly and pretty easily. And certainly we can work on ways to share information with you all while staying sensitive to privacy concerns of those that participate. So with that, if there aren't any questions, I will turn it back over to Kelly. Thanks again. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Darin. I saw that we got a question in the chat, and you
Okay.
have a minute and a half left. So if you want to attempt to tackle that now or answer in the chat, whichever you
hold on.
prefer.
Let's take a look. So does the RC2 software allow for watering to a 50% MAD and certain root depths?
RC2 does predictive watering. So you will put in your zip code and it will find a weather area for you. And then you can set in a predictive watering level. So anything over 70% or 80% chance of rain, don't water. So not only will it do that, but when it does water, it will take into account the rainfall and calculate a moisture level in the soil. You don't set a mad percentage point though. It will water based on your run times, not necessarily where the soil moisture level is. So the answer is no, but it's doing mad in the background. You just don't set the refill or watering percentage point.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean, and thanks, Darin. Last up, we have Megan, who will be talking about her work with Yoppify.
Great, thank you. You can go ahead and go to the next slide just for us to start off. Hello, everyone, and good morning. This has been so fun for me to listen to all of these other presentations. And I feel like if there's one thing that was driven home, it's that as water providers, we're becoming experts at collecting data. There's data sources all over. And even if you're a water provider who at this point is only doing monthly meter reads, there's still a wealth of information that you have about your water users that can be used to get the right message to the right person at the right time in order to maximize your conservation. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Historically, I feel like as water providers, especially those of us working in conservation, we've done the spray and pray approach to conservation, where maybe we shoot out a message that's relevant to everyone, but not too specific. So that's this example here on the left. Hey, shorten your showers, you could, or adjust your irrigation schedule, that'll save water. And while that's good, what we found is that there are a ton of people who would benefit from this message, but disregard it because they think they're actually already efficient water users. The power of data is being able to show people messages that are specific and relevant and action driven to an individual. And that's what the example here on the right is showing. You can pull in information about how much water they're actually using, how much water they could save by taking specific actions, and then drive them to specific programs that could benefit them. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Something that's just absolutely fascinating about water use is that it is not distributed normally. So what I've pulled together here is some slides showing distribution of water use across the service area. And I've seen this same trend with every agency that we've worked with. We'll do the same sort of chart and pull it in here. So on the bottom, what you see is a ranking of water users from like the lowest water user all the way over to the highest water user in the service area. And then on the right, you can see the cumulative percentage of total water use. So what this is showing right here is that 35% of billed water use is typically used by your top 5% of water users. Go to the next slide. This is also kind of continuing on that trend. Your top 25% of water users are using 70% of your billed water. And so then if we go to the next slide, the reverse of this is 50% of your water users are only using 10% of your water use. So the reason why this is really interesting is because when you have conservation programs that you're marketing, maybe a smart controller program or another water saving program, a spray and pray approach might actually not decrease your water use because as you're giving smart controllers to your lowest water users, that water use might actually increase. So at Yoppify, we want to help you maximize the benefit of all of the programs that you have by getting your messages and your promotions out to the residents that are going to have the greatest water savings for you. So if you go to the next slide, this is our sweet spot. What we found is that top 5% is typically those residents that are maybe needing a personalized audit or some one-on-one attention. But that section right there, that's in the top 25% of water users is where we can find a lot of savings through automated approaches that can be done through Yoppify. Let's go to the next slide. So at Yoppify, one of the things that we truly believe is that your water customers, they're not just, the relationship with you is not just about conservation. So if you want to find a way to have, deliver watering restrictions without making your residents angry, it starts way before you ever have to deliver that message. And it has a lot to do with your relationship of trust that you can build with residents. AWWA has found that 3 out of 5 water customers can't recall hearing from their utility in the past year. Next slide. Why this is important is because residents who do receive or recall receiving communication from their water utility report higher levels of satisfaction with their utility. Next slide. They're more likely to rate their water quality as excellent. Next slide. And they're more likely to consider their water to be safe. The thing that's really interesting about this is it has nothing to do with reality. Your water could be exactly the same water, but the difference is the perception and the relationship and the trust that you're building with your residents. Next slide. So at Yoppify, we can do several different things. Number one, we make jobs easier for utility staff through situational messaging. Go ahead and go to the next slide. What this means is that we can send out messages to individual households where it's relevant and impactful, whether that's targeting water conservation programs to the households who will benefit the most, sending out lead and copper surveys to those who you haven't heard back from yet, providing water budget awareness to individual households. Next slide. But we can also help you build public trust through geographical messaging. So next slide will demonstrate this. Let's say you have a planned water service disruption and you need to proactively notify a resident or a neighborhood about that. We can do that if you need to send out emergency notifications to certain areas of your community about a boil order. If you need to deliver required reports like the water quality report, or if you have a contamination event, that's where Yoppify comes in and starts to establish that public trust. Fun fact, I wasn't going to tell you this, but throwing this in here, another study has found that in a service area, when there is a service disruption, residents tend to have lower satisfaction, which makes sense. You've turned off their water. But there's one surprising exception, and that's when they were proactively notified in advance. Those residents actually tend to have higher satisfaction than someone whose water was never turned off in the first place. That's the power of building this trust with your residents before you send out calls to action for water conservation. Next slide. So this is the whole point of the presentation. We wanted to talk about the special benefits that AWE members can receive. The first is a 10% discount on our annual service fees and a waived implementation fee for Yoppify. Next slide. But I also wanted to share some really fun ways that Yoppify is offering benefits to AWE members with no charge, no strings attached. We just really want to see you all be successful. The first is that we'll provide you with a complete analysis of your current resident reach. What this means is if you're going, I have no idea how I would even reach my residents, how many phone numbers I have, what's textable, how many emails are accurate. That's what we'll do. We'll take your data, we'll clean it, we'll provide you a report so that you know exactly how many people you could reach through each of those channels. Number two, at no charge, we are happy to provide any core messaging templates with you that are used by our active utility partners. So those could be conservation type messages, or if you want to see the types of messages our customers are sending out about shut-off notices, service disruptions, delinquent payments, any of those we're happy to share. And then finally, we are able to provide AWE members with a community engagement evaluation and score, as well as a brief communication consultation. So if you're just interested in having a discussion about where are we at, where could we improve, we'll provide that at no charge, no strings attached to any AWE member who reaches out to us. Next slide. This is just my contact information. I would love to continue a conversation with any of you, and looking forward to getting to know all of the AWE members. So thanks so much for having us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Megan. Oh, is this one last slide of yours?
Yeah, I just threw that in there in case we needed it with questions, but it'll be in the slide to send out, and people can kind of see our process of building community engagement.
Perfect. Well, thank you all presenters for your incredibly quick and informative and great presentations. Also, y'all have some beautiful slide decks across your organizations that I loved getting a peek into. As y'all can hear, these are all the companies that you heard from are AWE members. So these are by members, for members. We are a community that are collectively working to achieve a sustainable water future. And I think what's exciting about a lot of these offers is you can see how they could be used in tandem. And whether you are an itty bitty water utility and you have one half-time employee working on water conservation, or you belong to a really large, well-defined water conservation team, there are a variety of solutions and programs and ideas and potential thought partners for you on this call. I want to pause here, and I know we had some good questions that popped up in the chat. Are there any questions that people want to briefly unmute themselves and or go off camera to ask either an individual or the group while you have this great group of panelists here right now? Also, for the introverts in the room, you are welcome to add a question in the chat in this moment as well. Okay, well, we will briefly be sending out an email that has this full slide deck as well as contact information for the 7 companies that you got to hear from today, links to their website. So feel free to reach out to them with questions that you have. Y'all know Rachel Austin DeBruin, who is our membership manager or manager of memberships and events, and she is the one that's taking point on the AWE side of the fence to help connect our members with these various resources. So feel free to reach out to her as well. I am going to throw one link in the chat while we are thinking of member benefits. I hope you read our AWE weekly roundup every week, but we are in the midst of doing member nominated awards. So I set that link. This is a way for us to really hype up and encourage and celebrate the great companies and water utility agencies and individual conservation practitioners that are really making a difference in this space. So encourage you to submit a nomination. You can submit a nomination for yourself, a colleague, your organization, an organization you partner with. But this is just another way that we are trying to highlight the really impactful work of our members. And if there are no lingering questions,
I have a
pause here.
question.
Oh,
Can I ask a
great.
question? All right, thanks.
Please take it away.
So one of the things that I think I've learned in speaking into the market is that people sometimes have a difficult time having heard all the information and going back and remembering it or figuring out, is this the right solution for me or is this the priority solution for me? So one of the strategies around that is to frame up like a list of qualifying questions. Like, what are the questions that I would ask myself to help me figure out if this is the most important thing for me? Just by a show of hands on the raise hand function, would it be useful for us as a group to pull that together and then to distribute that as a follow-up? I see one. I see a couple. Oh, a few. Okay. So that might be one of the things that I've seen after, people like this give a number of different member benefit webinars is that it can be difficult to process all of it. And so to everybody's benefit, maybe we can figure out how to make this digestible in a follow-up. So we can, Rachel, if we can circle back around afterwards, and Kelly, maybe there's a way for us to do that.
Yeah, I think that is an excellent
Okay,
idea.
cool.
And would be a helpful tool for us as well as we're onboarding new members. We're always highlighting these various promotions and programs. So having that from each of y'all would be incredible. Great idea. Any other lingering questions, either from presenters or participants? Well, thank you so much for joining us, presenters. Y'all did an incredible job and are offering really important solutions for some of the biggest challenges our members are facing. Thank you for joining us. As always, this will be live on our YouTube page for y'all to watch later. If you, like Jonathan said, have some questions that are lingering and you need to have more information to set up the chain of command, you'll be able to send them this link and hopefully convince folks of the power of good technology and good thought partners in this space. We will sign off for now, but thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
so much,
everybody.
AWE.
Take care.
Have a great week.
Bye.